Oh, let's see here. Oh, Gunter, come here. Come here, buddy. How you doing? Come here, Gunter. You're just such a creature. Oh. Okay, buddy, let's go ahead and check our... Oh, let's check our email here. Well, looks like who we got an email from. That's interesting. Colonel Michael Aquino. Oh, yes, Colonel Michael Aquino from the Army. Let's see what it says here.
Face.
An erection.
And get out of my face. Get out of my fucking face.
A huge male member.
Get out of my face.
If there's one truth in the cosmos, one cosmic truth, the truth is... Dear Mr. Thropos, thank you for the interview invitation, but after watching some of your YouTube video, I don't think I would fit into the swimming pool very well. Wonder why he says that. Again, thanks for the invitation and good luck in your creative endeavors. Sincerely, Michael Aquino. Oh, not every day you get a letter from Michael Aquino. Yeah. Oh, all right. Little star. Woo-hoo. Oh, your little heart is beating. You've been such... Oh, no. Let's go see who's at the front door, okay? Is it Nick? Oh, all right. Here we go. How you doing? Ayin Thropos here with another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do.
I thought Isney gonna join us too. Isney?
Maybe I can hear you now.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. I can hear you just fine. I had to get these headphones in, and it wasn't plugged in all the way.
Guess what I got? I got my big device.
Oh, my goodness. Did you bring that from the store?
No, see, we built them. My wife built them for me.
Oh, you build them right there in your home. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that one of the biggest ones you've made so far?
I don't need to make them. That's why I got a wife.
Oh, there you go. That makes
I put up the ass to work.
Yeah, right, yeah. Exactly.
I take out that tip.
You're working at the bank and she's working at home.
Exactly. I put out that secret space program. You know how we do it. The men get the glory, the women do the backbreaking. You know?
Yeah. All right. You know, that's right.
I'm just joking.
I know it.
But actually, she was the one that built it. See?
Awesome.
Different version.
Oh, yeah. Wow, there's quite a few exotic materials go into those, don't they?
Yes. See, copper wire, some parchment, some ashes water, many other things, and, using to create the right frequency, the right geometry has to go into it.
I imagine there's a lot of work just collecting all these rare materials, or some
yes.
Rare, some not so rare.
Exactly, but you have to assemble them, MacGyver style.
Right. You bet.
Okay, today I guess we're gonna do the full disclosure, and I'm so glad that you hastily uploaded the video because
there's one final part that has not been published. Parts 1, 2, and 3 have been published, and the best part, which is part number 4, will be published sometime later today.
Mm-hmm. And they're gonna see how real power is being used.
Yeah, let me tell you, we're already getting some amazing feedback off of your latest round of interviews.
Well, they never heard of me before, but they don't know I'm the guy behind the scene. I'm the one that responsible for every super secret space program, um, super soldier program, weapon and all that kind of stuff. But I'm here, but no one know. That's why I'm the hidden hand behind the hidden hand, behind the hidden hand.
That's
And
right.
that's
And
what they
so the viewers might have to watch some of these things multiple times because on some of these things, for instance, it doesn't sound like you hate James Casbolt or that you want James Casbolt to die. And as a matter of fact, it sounds like you're actually making somewhat of an effort to save his life. But apparently, the group that you're in with may or may not have him slated for termination at this time.
if he I talked to the people that are responsible for James Cosby, and they told me as long as they take your advice, they let him make it. If not, they will end his life just like that by changing his pH, shock his immune system, and then his own bacteria would take him out, and that's it.
Yeah, we spoke
No
about
big
that. Was
deal.
on episode 3 where you were speaking about that. You know, the water, the pH, even the reference you made to wine and everything is all very fascinating.
And look what is going on. Okay,
Okay.
I even demonstrated the ability on you, but that's only low setting. But now look at what I got.
Oh my gosh, that is quite a. That's a
Now we can use it full
yeah.
power. Yeah,
Wow, it's a beautiful. You know, is obviously it's functional, but it's beautiful as well. You know the way that it looks.
self power. You need to do anything you want thing done. Just talk to it audioly or thinking wise. It does not understand intention. It's a computer, stupid in, stupid out. But you just talk to it, tell it what you want, then it process it, and it give you the law of cause and effect. You give the cause, and it create the effect the way you want it.
It seems like it almost looks kind of like a mandala.
It is a mandala because it came
Oh,
from Angkor Wat.
oh,
Remember
okay.
Angkor Wat? See, but this is like Bayon. You can see it.
Uh
It's the
huh.
Q24, and this is the biggest one that represent the actuality of Angkor Wat itself. It's this design.
So is it? It's somewhat of a three-dimensional mandala, is it not? Or you know, because it's
Yes, it is. It's a three-dimensional system.
wow.
Correct. 360-degree completion. See, everywhere you
Oh,
look, it's the same thing. You see it?
uh
It's the
huh. I'm
same
noticing that.
design. It doesn't matter where you look. It's like holographically designed it. So everywhere
Oh,
you look, it represents the same fractal. Ain't that
right.
beautiful in
It,
3D
it,
form?
it really is. It's amazing. I bet you it takes quite a few hours for your wife to assemble one of those.
1 month, 1 month for one device.
Yeah, that makes that.
That's why it costs $6,500 just to sell it to the public. We sold two of them already, and this one is being paid off by some guy in Europe.
Hmm. Fascinating.
Yes.
Okay, if you'll let me see where my I got to let me get. Oh no, here it is right here. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get our introduction going, and that's the deal right there. Welcome to another enticing episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do. Today, in the studio and back by popular demand, Dr. Kosol Ouch. And from what I understand, we're going to have revelations today that are just even blow away what we've heard from Dr. Ouch just in the last couple of days. It's been noted that in the past few weeks, somebody has really been white hot on the internet with these I'm not going to say, conspiracy type of videos that are giving information, and that is Tim Refot. Well, now we're seeing that Dr. Kosol Ouch is coming neck and neck, and all their presentations are completely different information, but it is interesting every once in a while to see correlations because all of this stuff is kind of related. The AI and the wet teams and the astrals and your device there, is it not, Dr. Ouch?
Yes, this is the device. And I also brought the book that I wrote for the device as well.
Okay.
So you see, they can see the picture in the book, and they can get it on Amazon.
Is
This is a
it
key.
written in? Is there an English version?
Yeah, this is English.
Okay,
English.
all right.
Yeah, it had quantum. So I wrote books, manual for it, and to allow the commoners to catch up with the advanced civilization, which I
Exactly.
belong to.
Exactly. Yes.
Hmm. Okay, today, I need, before I continue with full disclosure, tell you the whole 9 yard, how things works and who been orchestrating. Um, you're gonna see I play a big role in all of this. But I want to ask you on your intake from your commoner, the insider that say there's an insider, and let's us compare notes. You know, after your interview of me, and because you have not released part 4 yet, but once I release part 4, they're going to see something, and that's because you know the truth already through experiencing with me, and
Yes.
now you know who is accurate and who is not.
Yes.
Mhm.
And who is intentionally inaccurate? That's trying to
Exactly,
pull the wool over our eyes.
exactly. We call who trying to be the wizard, you know, the old man behind the curtain,
Right.
pressing that
Yes,
button.
with this technology and such. Yeah.
Mhm.
Excellent example there.
So I want to present the ultimate, artificial intelligence from the future that was sent to the past in the form of Angkor Wat temple in a mandala, like you said. It is true because it's a frequency unifier, unified consciousness, frequency, everything, electromagnet, gravity, photon, consciousness, all into one singularity. That space in between right there. You see it?
Uh huh.
Between right there. See
Yes.
it
Yes.
right there
Yes.
in
I see it. It
between.
looks like a little
That's
a tunnel.
mm-hmm. That's where the singularity live. Because as you know, all pyramid shape and harness multiple, multiple magnetic field that can beam photonic light like a helix. So so the people in the future took advantage of that and let it point toward each other to form a singularity that they can create the eternal now within all
Wow.
space and time.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Very,
Okay,
very
but
sophisticated.
yes, back to our conversation. What was the feedback after from the 2 3 day from your panel?
Basically, just some minds were blown, and there's also been there's been a lot of views, but there's been a big quiet. In other words, a lot of times people will immediately react and immediately give feedback. But sometimes the best feedback you can get is when there's a big silence because you know that they're trying to mull over the information in their mind, and they're also watching and rewatching the interviews and the videos, and also having their friends and cohorts and stuff watch it to get a little bit of feedback from them before they put their own selves out there. But no, we've already had more comments than usual, and it's just now starting as a wave.
Hmm. Do you like it the way that you release it bit by bit to get them hungry, to get them enticed and
Yeah,
curious,
I
like you want
I
to know
think so.
more, like that?
I think that worked good. And I just they say that a good YouTube video is like maybe about 24 so minutes long, but I'm making them a little bit longer than that, 30 minutes long. You have to allow for the commoner's attention span and stuff like that.
Yes, yes, and that's a good way that you put it instead of all in one shot. That will give the mind to grasp section by section.
Yes.
It's like a chapter, and then okay, we clear this episode. Okay, now we have another episode.
Yes, and it keeps the energy going through the next day. The next day they're on the same subject. Bringing
Exactly.
in the information.
I heard you been attacked
Not
after you
not
upload the video.
directly, but yes, there was. Yeah, I mean, and it was a very serious attack, and I can't really say too much about it except that I have several psychics, and they are literally some of the most powerful psychics in the nation, if not in the world. And I've got a new one that's only from 3 days ago, and she just kind of popped up out of nowhere. But this, it was probably attacked based on several different things, and obviously the information that you and I are sharing and discovering for the people right now that can play no small role in that. And so yeah, it's this is not there's this type of work is not done without consequences and risk and stuff like that. But I've have protection put on me
Well,
right
I'm
now, and
going to
so
tell you. James Kobe, if he don't take your advice, he will be wetted. Really.
That's why I'm sending him the letter today, and I've also released it in several places like the Basis Project and on the 5-Star group, urging other people to send him the same letter because having been in prison myself, I know letters can get lost. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, lost. And so we want to make sure that he has a chance to do what's right. So all we have to do is just guarantee that he gets the information. Now, what he does with it after that is his business. And I've already said that when he writes the return letter, as long as it has that special word at the very beginning that I created to know that it's actually him and put a binding on that word so no one else can use it, I am going to read his response in a YouTube video, no matter what it says. If it's openly praising this or that, or you or me, fine. If it's openly, yelling at us or something like that, or it doesn't matter. I've gave my word that I'm going to read his response aloud.
He's in his mind. He think he know too much. He know it all, and he will not humble. And that's what's going to cause him. He's going to come out and start throwing monkey wrench, even at you, even at me, even at whoever, thinking that he know it all. He know the structure. He know the playing field. He know the player. The truth is he don't know nothing. He think he does. He only know a particular level, but he don't know the simplicity of all this, how the whole system is set up. The idea we talk about the narrative, who control the narrative. That's how you move consciousness.
Right.
You know the secret now.
Yes.
How you control the narrative. You're on our group. You're the man, or the woman, or the group, and that's it.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely probably did push a few buttons in there. I talked to him in a way that I kind of would not have liked to have been talked to, but at the same time I tried to own it. Not just being out here in cyberspace. I said, listen, if you got a problem with it, we'll have a sanction. I'm not talking about a street fight or any type of illegal violence. I'm just talking about a sanctioned 3-round MMA style fighting. If he wants to disagree with me, and that's his prerogative.
Exactly. Well, let's get to the nitty and gritty. So we touch on the 1800 secret space program, Breakaway civilization. We got touch on that the German control the world, and we set that on stone. And we brought the narrative that support that and the evidence that go with it. We touch on that Nikola Tesla, Einstein was not the smartest. They were just nothing more than sideshow, because the real power is the one that harnessed the real technology.
Yes.
The anti-gravity and the chi device technology, and that's the reason they have, who got destroyed it. William Wright. That's why they destroyed him, because he was close, he was on it, and he became a thorn on their side, and that's why they have to eliminate him.
That's absolutely right. And I think you also mentioned yesterday, for the viewers that didn't know, that the word orgone or the term orgone is just a different name for chi or prana.
Yes.
Or this,
Chi, etheric energy,
Etheric energy, yeah.
Yes. So you see why German is already one, is already on the world, and because they own a proportion system, they own technology that run on chi, they own what we call science of economy. They control the bank, and that bank is used to fund steel resource to build their underground or cave breakaway civilization, South America, Tibet, and off-world.
Yeah.
So they already, that's like in the 1800s, they've been doing this. So we're not talking about World War I, World War II, none of this. We're talking about the real founder of the breakaway civilization and the secret flying machine. The Nimmi.
Okay, got it. Well, and touching on what you said about the narrative and everything like that, a lot of people maybe not know this, but the language that we're speaking right now, English or Anglish or the angelic language, is classified. If you go look in a dictionary, we are speaking a Germanic language right now.
Exactly. We are actually speaking Germanic tongue right now. And people got to realize this is planetary run it by German, the Reich.
Yes.
That's it. That's final. They control the economic, the finance, and they have all the technology they want when they found a lost city of the giant, which is in Peru, Argentina, and Brazil. They found sub-colony of the main city in the cave, and they found railroad that go from South America to Tibet to Cambodia, and that's why the German invest so much interest in finding the fingerprint of the giant.
Yes. Now, I'm glad that you brought this up, and I'm sure that you know this, that the country of Argentina was originally called Patagonia. And Patagonia is a Latin word. It means the land of the giants.
Absolutely. The big and elongated head people. Now, let me touch a base with you, okay? I'm going to disclose everything. I'm going to tell you a story that is facts. Long time ago, this planet, they have tree that is 10 to 14 mile long. You understand what I just said?
A tree?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
All over the planet, okay? Bear with me here. I'm going to explain everything.
All right.
Now, people of that time were 3 to 4 mile in height. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to tell you how it was done, okay? And you're going to see that the environment at that time was very stable. They had pyramids built all over the world, but not by human. But 100% of the pyramids built by the people that have bird head. You have to understand, they were tall too, they were big. So this pyramid being, they harness multiple electromagnetic field, right? And is it called multiple electromagnetic field?
Multipole, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I was making sure I got that word right.
Yes, and this magnetic field being photonic, energy that can bend gravity to create a two-layer mist field around this planet. Like ice, about from 15,000 to 18,000 feet, because this field of mist is made of ice. It was that thick. And then another layer was 35 to 38,000 feet. So it kept the planet very stable. The wind was only 5 mile tops all around the planet. And the whole planet was very cute, around 70 degree to 75 degree. Not anything above that.
It's like a terrarium, like that you
Yes.
have that your kids have at school,
Yes, very, very conducive. Allowed life form to become fully tall. Tree became very tall, and that's the reason tree can become big when you're in a very stable environment. And the pyramid was built throughout the ley line, throughout the planet, major and minor, and it kept the environment very pristine, very stable, and therefore life form, plant, animal, creature become large naturally. And there's two ice layers on over the sky. It protect people from cosmic radiation, so it won't shrink, affect their immune system. They won't shrink their thymus gland. The thymus gland remain large.
Oh,
therefore, the
fascinating.
body become very conducive to the environment, and it begin to unwind. The DNA begin to unwind because there is no cosmic radiation that can affect its development. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, and that's the reason. If you look at Google Earth throughout your planet, you will find tree, like image look like tree because it was a tree.
Yes,
Spruce tree.
Is it Devil's Mountain in where they filmed Close Encounters of the Third Kind? That mountain, it looks like a chopped off tree trunk. That's just is what it looks like.
Let me check the device to get an update on all the tree. Device activate, increase. Please give me all the knowledge, accurate knowledge of a history during the time before the fall. Is Devil Tower is a tree? Okay, I see. Devil Tower is a tree, and it has roots that go to 5 mile in depth, and it's spread, but it was turned into stone by an anti-proton weaponry system.
Fascinating. So you're telling me that Devil's Mountain actually was a tree?
Was a tree around 13,500 years ago. It was a tree.
Well, this is something we've never done on this show before, and that is you using the device in real time to get questions answered for us?
Well, don't we use Google, right? The people in the future use quantum Google.
Right. That makes I like that.
Quantum Google can see through parallel event. You know, it don't tap into information, actually tap into event. Event
right.
as real information. So every stone that looked like a creature is a creature. They've been hit by an anti-proton beam. That's why they got turned into stone. You know, a nuclear neutron explosion will churn your body into dust, correct? It will take out but leave everything intact. Anti-proton beam will churn physical structure, flesh and blood into stone immediately.
Fascinating.
So the device pinpoint that some of your plateau is not plateau, it's tree. And some of them tree have a diameter of 10 mile, like someone cut a 10-mile big tree. And it's showing me Antarctica, South America. Them a tree, and people also got turned into stone. Gigantic human beings.
And so you're receiving information from the device right now?
Yes. It's showing me, it's talking to me, and it's showing me that some of the mountains that look human are human. But they are 4 to 5 mile human when they stand up. Wow. You say that's very big. Wow. They are our ancestors.
Yeah. And it's fascinating that the information that you're giving right now matches up with the information that Dr. Rudolf Steiner was coming about with, that in the ancient past humans were amazingly gigantic.
Amazingly. Now, you wonder, how do they eat? Well, people in that time does not need to eat. Even they were giant. They were high consciousness, so they can materialize food feeding through the prana field. Because every morning, according to the device showing me that the earth will be filled with mist. So there was no need for rain.
Yeah, that's exactly what Dr. Steiner says. And but now let me ask you this: was there somewhat more subtle? In other words, I know that they were solid and everything, but the idea that we've somehow even become more compact and harder. Were they a little bit more misty than we are, or?
They were of a great statue, but their consciousness is powerful because the environment helped conduce psychic full brain function, full heart function. And so there was nothing wrong with the immune system. They have physiologically, psychologically, the prana run into the body very balancedly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they were very balanced beings.
Oh,
so therefore, they need to eat because they're feeding on prana, they're feeding on the sun, the life force. They're like plant. Does that make sense? They're like plant.
Yeah. So had this already developed where they were already doing war, or did war come later, or the conflict amongst beings?
You have to understand how the war came when they beginning to create a structure that began to when you start destroying the tree, right? That will lower the oxygen content. That you call geoengineering. They begin to create unbalance in the planetary geo environment. So whatever project they've been working on, give me a second. Let me look at what they were doing, and I'll describe to you. Device, let me see what was going on that caused what happened that caused the fall. Show me. Okay, device is showing me. Right now, they were giant people. They're working with the extraterrestrial, and they were cutting down trees, and they were developing pillar. They go up into the sky. This pillar was like 10 or 20 miles long. And then in that pillar, there seemed to be the structure itself created. They built it on the ley line. The ley line energy, the structure, it opened up a sound frequency that opened up a portal between Earth and the moon and the Pleiadian star system.
Fascinating. Wow.
So when they did this, it caused an uproar within the environment, because it creates an unbalance in the pyramid structure, because that the structure seemed to maintain store portal. So transit between the moon and the Palladian become continuous. So they have an easy like site to site transport very easily. And what happened, it costs, they supposed to turn it on, but also let it cool down. But too much, too much, too much matter and energy being converted, and it caused what we call disrupt in the Schumannic resonance.
Oh, okay. The Schumann resonance of the Earth.
Yes.
Fascinating.
So when it created, it get feedback loop, and the ET and the giant, they were working together, and they have what happened. They supposed to shut it off. Did something happen? The structure of the tower was sabotaged by a faction, that did not agree. They were harnessing all this energy to open up portal because they do not want the people of the store to come too much into here. That would cause political, social interference.
Upheaval. Yeah, now let me ask you this, because you know this question is coming. What you just described, is that the Tower of Babel described in the Bible?
I'm telling you what it looked like. It's 3 tower, very tall. It looked like a tree, and they were having vine wrapping on it, and this tree was being turned into stone by anti-proton weapon, the help of the ET, and they used the structure to create resonance. It's like it's like this. Imagine it look like that. You see?
Yes.
Like, and then it was vibrating, and this triangular frequency, it resonated with the Earth, but it began to amplify the Earth resonance, affecting the ley line. As the device is showing me right now, and the sound it create opened that portal, like a spherical portal, and ship was coming through, and people was coming through, and people was going in and going out. They were doing just fine until one of their faction, okay, got a little upset and decided to they bring down the tower, and the whole thing cramping down.
Wow.
And that caused the fall. That means that resetted the Schumann resonance and lowered the frequency, and unstable the pyramid network, and also the sky shield. The whole thing cascaded down.
Oh
the
my
sky
gosh.
down. Yes.
So was this also associated with the destruction of Atlantis? Maybe a precursor
Yes.
to it? Okay.
Yes. 13,500 years ago when it happened. And when the environment become very chaotic, cosmic radiation seep in, and also the moon cannot stabilize because there was 2 moons during that time. The final moon they used, that faction used it, the eighth moon. The Earth has 2 moons during that time. This big one and this other little one. They use that moon to plunge into the tower itself and cause it to fall. And the location of this tower was in the Caribbean area.
Oh,
Caribbean, that area right there.
Right. Well, they found apparently they found a lot of Atlantean or some type of advanced society ruins in the Caribbean Ocean.
Yes. Now I'm going to tell you why the science works. Have you ever heard of tuning fork?
Yes.
They built the structure to be very sensitive. The stone itself was very sensitive. The shape and the structure, they shape it right to be a receiver of Schumann resonance.
Ah, I understand. And I don't know I can't remember the exact frequency of the Schumann resonance, but I think it's somewhere like around 4 hertz or something like that, or 4 or 14, something like that.
During that time, the Schumann resonance was very high.
Oh, we had a different Schumann resonance back then, of course. Of course.
So the structure was made to receive the mega level of Schumann resonance, and the Earth was very vibrant. But when that thing resetted the Earth heartbeat, it dropped the frequency instantly, and therefore people cannot recover consciously wise, because once the human resonance is reset, your connection to the morphogenetic field is cut off. Then you forget who you are. You don't know what happened. You just woke up from a bad nightmare or woke up from a dream.
Yeah, and you were no longer being born with your father's memories and your grandfather's memories. These atavistic memories that men used to have, we no longer have access to them.
You don't have access to the genetic memory bank within
Right.
you because the human resonance was low and there is not matching between your conscious mind with your DNA. Your DNA is full memory of everything. And what happened, because people being bombarded with cosmic radiation, their thymus gland began to shrink. The next generation became smaller. You lose the status of 4 mile to 3 mile, 2 mile, 1 mile, and then finally down to a level within 13,000 years.
Wow. To the height
You
of
see?
the average human being today.
So what happened to the tree they cut down? The tree was cut down. Another alien came down and shoot anti-proton to preserve it. And they also, in order to save the species, they shoot anti-proton into some of their people to preserve them until the environment raised to full. Then they can shoot another anti-proton and then bring them back to life again.
Oh, that's almost like a suspended animation, almost.
Yes, suspended animation.
Yes.
Through changing the body into from carbon to silicon.
Right,
Yes.
and so, but we're given the idea that some of these giants, maybe not those huge ones, but some of them are only like maybe 20 or 12 or 20 feet tall, that are somehow in these stasis chambers. So maybe that's what that is. I don't know.
They found out to preserve the entire society, they turned their army into stone. They turned some of their royalty into stone because the human reasoning is so low they cannot exist consciously, physically. So the only way to preserve them until the earth reset itself, it might take thousands of years for it to reset itself and bring itself back up, in healing mode, until somebody fix the pyramid structure throughout the planet and then bring in the sky shield. Until then, they've been churned from carbon life form to silicon permanently until the environment is right again. And then their comrade, wherever they are, will come back and beam another particle and reverse the effect.
Certainly, this has nothing to do with the terracotta army of China with all the clay soldiers.
This has nothing. They are made by human beings, but we are talking about living being that have been turned into stone.
I know it, but these terracotta army, each one has an individual face. There's some people that think that maybe, I don't know. You're familiar with this terracotta army I'm speaking of?
Let me go ahead and use the device to look at the subject you're talking about. Device, read his mind. Okay, show me what he's talking about. Device is saying you are talking about the Emperor of China, the Yellow Emperor, building an underground pyramid that harness what we call Mercury as the fuel source, and that is the propulsion system for the Overmaner. But they commissioned it being to turn human being into stone for the purpose because they have the technology to convert carbon-based life form to silicon by projecting the same thing, anti-proton crystal weaponry onto the one who able to look at it. Similar to the creature called Medusa, the device said that when you look into the anti-proton radiant light, your body turns into stone instantly. The same technology is being utilized. Device, can you show me their technology? Yes, I see it. It looked like an orb, a spherical orb, and it's on a pole. But in this case, it's in the mouth of a dragon statue, like golden.
Wow. We've seen images of this before, haven't we? A dragon with a ball in its mouth.
Some kind of head, yes. And it showed me how it was operated. The people will go and some kind of light will be emitted from it, and immediately they just turn into stone.
Wow. I've heard
Just
many theories
like
through the years about what dragons actually are, but when we had our interview just a couple of days ago, you explained to the audience what at least these giant, huge dragons are, and I still didn't really grasp an understanding of that. How many of those giant dragons are there, and are they in an astral realm, or are they physical, or are they under the
device.
ocean?
Device said, let's be clear about technological exists in the same space, but has many parts in different frequency. Some other part is here, anchored here. Some other part is anchored as a whole it's a physical holographic dimension of it in another plane, but
Okay.
sharing the same space.
Okay.
Now, what you're referring to, device said that this device is a psychotronic device that beam anti-proton into a crystal lattice, which is the orb. And the ancient, that's why they use the dragon shape, is to create the spiral winding that capture tachyon particle through a psychotronic winding. And then it push. That's why they have the pyramid able to harness tachyon particle and to create the multiple pole magnetic field that energize the coil around the dragon, that channel the tachyon in the form of antiproton particle and go into the crystal light that create the aluminum effect that have ability to transform carbon-based structure into silicon structure spontaneously.
Wow. And so, to clear that, it's the multipole magnetic force.
That's why the pyramid was built, similarly to run that contraption.
Right.
Because the pyramid structure can harness the shape of that structure is made of granite. Device is showing that it can harness multipole magnetic field that have special property that responsive to thought, that responses to voice, that can harness also photon and tachyon at the same time.
That's
So
fascinating.
you have a multi-purpose structure, a power source. And how they did was introduce a crystal lattice. A crystal lattice have a unique geometry structure that can process this kind of multipole electromagnetic field. So these people have access to very high understanding of structural science and harnessing a magnetic and light and tachyon.
Now, after the giants that would manifest things, but when they still had the high level of technology, was it like, for instance, the people with the elongated skulls, were they using some type of high technology and also weaving baskets at the same time? I mean, was it a type of a mixture of what we would consider old tech and new tech, or?
Let me ask Device. Device, what do you think about Eon question about the people in Longo Head and how does the whole process work? Device said each colony has their own understanding based on their environment, but their overall goal was to preserve the species. High technology, they already have high technology. Their thought can manifest into physical reality by thought, by sound and thought. So therefore, all the technology was a creation of thought manifestation.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Because the technology is based on twofold, shape and consciousness. So that's the reason they don't have technology like you and I have, because all the technology is very consciousness sensitive, because the technology is work in resonant with their thought process. It's like a tuning fork.
Yeah, they don't need the keyboard or anything like that. The iPad. Yeah, I'm starting to see. And they're accessing the morphogenetic field, which is like way better than the internet.
Exactly. And they built structure crystal latticely that is in resonance with the morphogenetic field. Therefore, that's the overbrain.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And being right there in Dallas, of course, you know about Rockwall in Rockwall, Texas, mm-hmm. and that there's a huge rock wall under there, and it's made out of advanced materials that does just that resonates. And the scientists have even figured out that they couldn't even make that wall today because they had to make that wall when the gravitational field of the Earth was different. You couldn't even have a lab that would make that.
the Earth human resonance has to be in a different stage in order to create um, sensitive resonant technology.
Right. Yeah, it's not like they could build a lab to do it because the very gravitational field of the Earth would still not be
No,
right.
in order to build this technology, you have to build a pyramid structure. That's the first step. You have to be in the monopole center to build, because in there, the law of physics behave differently. It behave according to your thinking. Therefore, when you bring regular element, it will interface with the multipole, the tachyon, the prana within the pyramid center, and therefore you can shape the structure immediately according to what technology you want. It'll be very sensitive molecularly toward the morphogenic field, the
Right.
human resonance. So that's how they build it. That's why you see pyramid was built for specific purposes, allow engineer to go inside the pyramid and to build machine that become very sensitive to the morphogenic field frequency of human resonance.
These pyramids fulfilled a number of functions.
It does. It is the power center. It is the power source. Basically.
Yeah, it's also the weapon. It's also the laboratory. It's also
Yes.
the work, the factory.
It's also a computer because
It's
the
also a
structure
computer.
itself,
Mm-hmm.
it act like organite. Like organite or quantum physics, because it creates singularity inside the structure. So people can talk to the structure of the pyramid and it talk back to them. It collects.
And it's also, in a way, maybe of looking at it, in our modern day way of looking at it, a religious center, because maybe at least the commoners of the time kind of worshipped maybe the power of it. I don't know.
Because since it's a